everyone, and welcome to Crucial Conversations about Cognitive Diversity. It's November, and we've all survived the excitement and the sugar high of Halloween. But today, I'm really excited to be able to share with you this topic that's really close to my heart. So I'll tell you about my guest shortly. Crucial Conversations is brought to you by the 2E Center for Media and research and professional development. In case you don't know, my name's Maria Kennedy. I have the pleasure of being your host today. I'm a mom. I'm an educator, and I like to think of myself as a change maker because I go places and change what's there, right? So I have had the pleasure of working globally with children all over the world, and I have been blessed to be able to work with some amazing educators, and I've learned an awful lot on my journey. I now live in sunny California, except right now it's raining. So we're starting our 3-day rainstorm. I work at an amazing place called Bridges Academy, and it is through this amazing institution that I have the pleasure of meeting today's guests. So Jeremy and Leah Cohen are amazing people. They are raising a beautiful family, and they are taking time out of their very, very busy schedule. And I am superbly grateful and honored that they're prepared to share with us today the details of their love life and how they keep their family happy and going, not without challenges. So without further ado, Jeremy and Leah, would you be kind enough to turn your cameras on and to introduce yourselves?
Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for that very kind introduction. I'll let my wife introduce herself first.
Hi, I'm Leah.
And I am Jeremy Cohen. And as you said, yes, we have 3 children. We live in Westlake Village, California, and all 3 of them have unique challenges. So I know we're going to go into those, but it's definitely been a journey and one of discovery and learning, and are happy to share whatever we can today.
Yes.
I know for sure from the brief conversations that we've had already that what you have to share really is going to impact an awful lot of people. And so right out the gate, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to share with us today. So if you have any questions for Leah or Jeremy, please pop them in our Q&A tab. It's easier if you put them in the Q&A because then they pop up. And the sooner you pop the questions in, the sooner we will have a chance to answer them. In the chat, please feel free to share your own experiences, to concur, to celebrate, and to go, yeah, I remember that, I felt that, because this is a place for us to have a conversation. It is called Crucial Conversations, although everybody isn't speaking at once. So let's kick it off. Would you be kind enough to tell us a little bit about your family, right? Your family is wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We have a 7-year-old daughter, and we have Scarlett. We have a 12-year-old son, Hunter, and Wyatt, who is 13 years old. Wyatt is actually at Bridges Academy.
7th grade.
In 7th grade. And we'll go into kind of either their stories and their challenges. Hunter goes to Frostig Academy here in California as well. And Scarlett is in a special program at Lupin Elementary. And we've really been able to give them, and people say, oh my God, they have 3 different schools. Well, each of them are very unique. Each of them have their own very unique challenges. And through a lot of learning, asking questions, discovery, again, we found unique environments for
finally the right places.
Exactly.
Finally, we got it.
For how unique they are. Yes. And it's been amazing to see the 3 of them really strive in those places.
Yeah, they're thriving. They're happy. And that's the most important thing, is that you just want your kids to be happy and to look forward to going to school. I mean, Scarlett is autistic. She's nonverbal, but she's very happy, and she lets them, she hops out of the car in the morning to go to her class. She has, a one-on-one aid. She's learning with a device, an AAC device, but she's excited to go to school in the morning. She's, and that's hard to find. We found it, and we're going to keep her there. And We found the boys the right places. It took a while, but we're very fortunate that we were able to get them in the right places and the right environments. So yeah, but it definitely didn't come without its challenges. We thought several places were the right places, and they weren't. So
yeah, that trial and error thing, right? That trial and error thing. I know, though, as parents, we're often reluctant. I mean, my son's gifted, so the first school that we sent him to, I was determined that he was going to stay there, and that was going to be the right place for him, because it was a Catholic school, and I'm Catholic, and so that was what I wanted. Yeah, but it didn't turn out to be the right environment for him. And I was pushed, first by my mother, and then by the therapist that said he can't stay in that school. They would kill him. So as parents, I mean, your children are 3 different ages. So when did you decide what wasn't working? And what was it that made you go, hey, no, enough is enough. We need to look for something better?
I think it all happened at different times.
Mm-hmm.
I know for Hunter, for our 12-year-old who's at Frostig School in Pasadena, he was diagnosed with ADHD when he was in pre-K. So we were already working with behavioral therapists then and already finding out things. And then he was diagnosed with dyslexia and dysgraphia in 1st grade. So when this was happening, Scarlett who is now just 7. I mean, she was diagnosed when she was 3. So it was happening at different moments. And the thing is with Hunter, the school was like, once again, it was a nice Jewish school. We're Jewish. We wanted to do anything we could to make it work so that they could make it work. They were up to it. With Scarlett, when you get that kind of diagnosis at 3, it completely shifts everything. There is no, we can try. There's, let's go in intensive therapy. So that kind of made it easier for Scarlett in a way. I kind of feel like in a way it was the tough diagnosis to get. I mean, we were mourning it when we found out she was autistic severely, but at the same time, there are only so many channels and avenues you can do, with someone like Hunter who has ADHD and dyslexia. There's lots of tutors and educational therapists and pullouts and different things that you try first before you realize how he's going to respond to them. And with Wyatt, he's our old soul. He is very bright and very intelligent. And for so long, he was not a behavior problem, so no one said anything. And so as a result, he was just doing fine. He was fine until all of a sudden, he'd say it's middle school happens. Mm-hmm. And his way of thinking was beginning to be so different to get the answers and so out of the box and so right and so correct that the school he was in could not let him think outside the box. They didn't know how to grade it. They wanted to count him half off. As a result. And it just was another situation where we were told by his therapist, right, you got to get him out. This isn't good for his self-confidence, And so I think it happened at different times and in waves. It's been the hardest for Wyatt and Hunter to find the right place.
And they're unique children, obviously, in the way that they express themselves and communicate. So we knew, I think, probably to a greater extent with Hunter that he was suffering versus Wyatt. Wyatt, as an old soul, also, I think, was concerned about how it would affect us. So he didn't share how he was feeling. We found out even socially that he didn't have friends. He was eating alone. He wasn't talking and engaging with other kids. And we found out about that April, right, of the school year. And we've asked, and they said, oh, well, it's been that way since the beginning of the year.
But he wasn't complaining.
But he wasn't complaining, right? He was just being a good kid, and he was kind of keeping it himself. And because he wasn't a discipline problem.
He wasn't a discipline problem, and he also wasn't emotional about it. Our kid with ADHD tended to be more socially immature, and as a result, was expressing those things. He was crying easily, which ended up being a cry for help. With Wyatt, he didn't want to rock our boat. He actually said to us, oh, you have Hunter, you have Scarlett. I'm okay. I just go to school and do this. Well, that's not okay with us. And, he deserves even more so. He needs to go to school and in his own way, find a way to socialize, in his own way with people that, won't bully him because they see the world the way he does.
Most definitely. I love that. Yes. So we often have children who just plod along and stay quiet and don't cause any waves and hold it together for as long as they can. And then it's not until they can no longer hold it together that we actually find out what's really going on with them. So, but I love the fact that he said he didn't want to bother you because you got a lot going on. So that tells me right out the gate that he's compassionate, he's caring, and he's loving. And so in your house, how do you keep that going? I mean, you've got 3 children. I mean, juggling 3 children is a lot of children, right? I mean, I gave up at 1. I'm going, okay, I can't do anymore. That's too many. And my friend has 6, and she's just amazing. That's all I know. She has 6 children. I think she's phenomenal. So how do you juggle 3 and keep them happy? How did you raise an amazing human like Wyatt, who was so compassionate, so caring, and loving not only for you as his parents, but also for his siblings? How do we do this? What do we do? What are the secrets?
We will say he was born that way. He's an old soul, but we're lucky because he's so intelligent and so inquisitive that he looks up things, and he's looked up autism, and he knows. Hunter will say, when is she going to drive? She's not going to drive. And he gets upset. Why would you say that about her? And why it's like, I understand she won't be able to drive and take care of herself. What did he tell you recently? Don't worry.
Don't worry. He'll take care of things. He's
going to take care of Scarlett when we're gone.
Oh,
and he understands that, which is amazing. I think, and this is a full testament to Leah. It's just, I think it's a sense of understanding also, where when there are certain behaviors that maybe are different, unexpected things that you thought maybe you weren't going to have to experience, just being able to take a deep breath, right, and understand them and realize that. And I've said this a lot about Scarlett. Scarlett doesn't know she's autistic.
That's the thing.
Doesn't know that she's different. She's extremely happy, and we just want her to be able to enjoy life and be the best version of herself that she
and be
can
the happiest that
be
she can be in her situation, because she really doesn't know. She gets up and goes to school the same as her brothers. She has her iPad. She wants to sit in their bed with them. She doesn't know. There's so many things she can't do, but she can sit next to them, and they're very fiercely protective over her.
Yeah. And I think with we talk about Hunter with ADHD. It is something where I've had to learn to be patient, because my expectation. Let her say she has ADHD. She understands it. I continue every single day to learn and to have to stop myself a lot, because I'm expecting someone to be reacting maybe the way I'm used to, right, or the way that I've been. And so it is having to take that deep breath and learning both from Leah and also just learning from Hunter about how I should communicate, how I should react, how in a moment where maybe there is a lot of emotion, holding it together and realizing I need to take a deep breath, because in their mind, right, in Hunter's mind especially,
he's really just trying to be okay. He's trying to belong. So sometimes he exaggerates or wants to be a part of a story. He wants to put himself in it so he can feel a connection to you. I know what that is. And so he's not lying. He just wants to have a connection between you and that thing. And he gets so excited and impulsive, he can't help it. He's bursting. And then if you tell him, oh, stop, he's so embarrassed. He turns in. And I know what that's like. It's like almost like a hot and cold thing you get, because you basically put yourself out there, and that's frightening. But it's also, I think we've also, for YouTube, I got to say, there are some wonderful things, and we've let the kids watch videos. There's some really amazing ones for kids about ADHD. And Hunter, in between that and talking to a therapist, it's been amazing with just like, you know what, Hunter, you have to sleep more. You get emotional. Wyatt, you might say you're not hungry, but you can't go so long without eating, honey. These little things like this, we have to remind ourselves sometimes, hate to say it, when's the last time he ate? Did we forget to give him his medication? I mean, things like that. Once you find out, you just have to kind of watch it. It's not going to change. And sometimes, what did your mom tell me? Because I was, you get depressed at times. You're like, why? What is going on? It should be easier. She actually told me sometimes that her therapist said to tell me that I'm going to have to be functional and not fun. And to be okay with it. And it was tough. Like sometimes I'm not the fun one. I'm just serving a function, especially for our daughter with autism.
And that's tough to hear, right? Especially as a parent. But you have to have that understanding sometimes and realize that that's maybe what they need in that moment, right? But again, it's continues to be a learning experience every day. And, we ask questions and talk to other parents. And what's been great about Bridges or Frostig and other and even the program at Lupin is to be able to talk to others that have shared experiences, right? And to be able to realize, we had birthday parties for both of our kids the last 2 weeks. And it was interesting because we've not had birthday parties for our sons
2019
since 2019, because they were bullied, because they couldn't make connections with other kids. And all of us had that shared experience, because you would have thought this was like the birthday party of the century, right? For both of them, because all the parents, like everyone accepted, everybody was there.
Parents were thanking me at the coffee talk for middle school before the party happened in front of Stacy for their children getting an invitation to a birthday party. And I'm thinking to say to them, do you understand? I was so nervous to see the Evites because I just wanted him to get some yes responses. And what we end up finding is that we can't help it. Even though we found our kids these perfect places that are giving them what we need, we didn't even know existed or what they needed. We have a little PTSD because our kids went through stuff either we knew about or didn't. And now I know he'll say, did you eat with anybody at lunch? No. Are you okay? Are you okay? Oh my God. Do you have friends? Why didn't you eat your snack? What does this mean? And we can't help it, but we also don't want to make them feel weird. Right. But there's still that part of us, that when you find out something with your child, all you want to do is make it better.
And I have to stop myself, from doing that sometimes, but it's great to have those connections, right? And to know that you're not alone in this. I think that's the biggest thing. Is we thought, even though we knew there were other parents out there going through similar circumstances, in the moment when you first find out, whether it's autism or ADHD or what have you, you feel very alone in that moment. And that's, I think, where being able to make these connections, know that there are other people experiencing things similar to you, knowing that there are resources out there, and frankly, knowing that there's schools out there, right, for kids like this. That's something that we never knew, right?
We thought they would just be they'd have to go to the real school day. And then afterwards, other kids are going to activities. You're going to go to your educational therapist. Right. And just to know that these things were found a place where they're packaged in together is wonderful, because then it can just be kids. And that's what's so important. They just need to feel like a kid, not necessarily, what is normal kid, but just to feel like a kid, to go to school and laugh and have fun. And they're getting what they need built in, so they feel good about themselves. We just want them to want to go to school.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I had this very same question. Can you share the videos that you like to teach the children about ADHD?
I don't know the names of them, but I know there's a couple. There's one it's a girl, right? Mm-hmm. And it's more like it's a caricature,
animated.
There's one that talks about how she explaining how now she can look at how she was acting, and it was because of ADHD. There's one with a guy's voice, and he's talked a lot about dopamine and the importance of sleep. So I've actually had Hunter come up to me and say, hey, I think I don't feel good because my dopamine levels are low. Should I go outside and go on a walk? And I'm like, yes, it's not punishment. And so they'll even say to me that sometimes, like, I lay on a park bench because I know the vitamin D actually makes me feel better. And they'll get embarrassed, but it does. Things like that. But what are they? I don't know the names of the videos.
Yeah, we'll track them down.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you would and share
They're
them with me,
amazing. They,
Yeah.
I mean,
and we'll post them on the website.
yeah,
For everyone.
they've actually made, they think he thinks it's funny and he just wants to watch it and explain some things. He's like, oh my gosh, mom, that's like me.
Nice.
And that was priceless.
Because then, as I was talking about being alone, then he doesn't feel alone either, right? So if he feels like he's different and yet he sees a popular YouTuber,
And he's not
right,
embarrassed,
who's sharing their story and admitting to millions of followers that they have ADHD, then maybe there's nothing quote unquote wrong with me.
Well, this guy,
right?
one of them said it was a superpower because understand part of ADHD is that you can hyperfocus. I mean, you go down the rabbit's hole and 2 hours into research, you're becoming a professional when all you need to do is order something on Amazon. Well, that's the same with him. So one day he was telling me, I have a superpower. And this was on one of the ADHD videos. And I'm like, what is it? Drums loud. So, and he was like, no. He's like, I hyperfocus, but I can hyperfocus. The fact that I can hyperfocus can be a superpower. And I was like, where did you watch this? Like, this is amazing. Instead of like, oh, the problem is they hyperfocus sometimes. If this video flipped and the kid was like, hey, it might be that I hyperfocus, but sometimes I hyperfocus and it's for a good reason. So he turned into a superpower. And it was telling him how to make that superpower stronger by getting rest and by not having low blood sugar. Because if I say it, it's punishment. And
I know, right?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, yes, I know that one. Mum's nagging again. Why is she telling me I have to do this? Yeah, I've been there with that one. Okay. Question for you. I find that I am still many, many years into parenting a 2E kid, shocked by some of my kids' emotions and behaviors. I never imagined that I would feel so in conflict with my own child. He has lots of moments of really being kind and sweet with me, but he is often so mad at me, and frankly, it is really hard to take. For context, he's quite happy at school and our family is stable and loving. It's just really hard to be a neurodiverse kid. Do you have experiences like this? And how has Bridges in particular supported you?
We're fortunate we don't have. Wyatt has no anger issues.
Right.
He gets
frustrated.
There we go. He when he was young, and he could read Harry Potter in kindergarten, and the teacher still wanted him to do the lessons at his level, he would growl. Like,
your tone influences how readers respond. With Grammarly, just highlight your text.
He would growl because he didn't want to hear it, because he didn't need it. He'd be like, And then all of a sudden he was closing his eyes the next year. And it was him being frustrated because he knew what you were telling him, or he didn't want to hear it. And now even if you tell him he's done something we need to work on, he's like, oh, he just wants to hush you. He doesn't want to hear what he's done wrong. He just wants to fix it. And I'm like, you're not in trouble, but you're in school for a reason. Let us teach. Let them teach you. His is more, he gets very frustrated. He's frustrated with his brother because he's really good at video games. He's really, things come so easy for him. And now all of a sudden, for the first time in his life, a few things haven't. And that's been very upsetting to him because he's actually having to study. And that's creating, but a big part of him is just frustrated with other people who are not thinking like him. And yeah, or a teacher. I mean, he growled.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And we just talk to him about it, right?
We're honest with our kids. Yeah. Very honest.
We don't get angry with them. Again, understanding that they're all approaching life in a different way, right? So it's just a matter of having to step back and talk to them and talk through it, and maybe in that moment, right, when they're extremely angry, extremely frustrated, it maybe is not the best moment to do it right then.
It's hard. I will say it's hard for Wyatt. It's really hard as a 2E kid. One of the things we have to work on with him that we found out, right, through assessment is we have to help him understand how he's acting affects other people. It's very, very difficult for him. He wants to spew facts, and sometimes the fact can hurt people's feelings. He's like, but I don't understand. The truth is they're not good at this. This is a fact. It would be in my hypothesis. This is a fact. It should not be upsetting. And I'm like, okay, honey. Okay, if you told me that, I'd still be a crumpled mess in the corner. And he's like, but why? And he's not meaning it bad at all. And so it's not even, he's so empathetic, but at the same time,
Yeah,
it's trying to help him with that kind of thing. And he does get frustrated and angry when we tell him, because he doesn't want to be wrong. And he also he wants to make us happy.
Right.
So, but that's a lot of patience for us, just sitting at their level and explaining and being honest with them, what comes with it. They know exactly what they have, their diagnosis is. We're very honest. Right?
Yeah. Agreed.
I like that. So again, taking that breath, but maybe not in the moment is the time to explain. So maybe a little bit, giving it a little bit of space, and then talking through it in that calm manner and explaining how their behavior affects other people. I think that's
and
very...
begin it by saying they're not in trouble. Like before we do anything, you will say, because if we say, can we talk? Oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? What's wrong? You're not in trouble. Believe me, it's nothing. Just take a breath, relax. You just want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
What's going on?
We use that line a lot. You're not in trouble, because that's immediately the first place they go, right? You're not.
What I do,
because they start to overthink, right? What's
anxious.
happening, and either want to get anxious, or why it'll start to think about, oh God, what could be the reason why they want to talk to me, and then you'll spiral, right? So yeah, I agree 100% when you say you're not in trouble. That's something that allows everybody to kind of calm down and be on one level.
Yeah, you have to talk to them. You have to be able to talk to them.
So picking our time, making sure that they understand that it's a conversation, not that they're in trouble. It's really funny that you say that. I used to call parents and discovered that I used to have to, when I called them, I used to go, everything's okay. Right? Because they get a call from me and they're going, oh my God, what happened to my child? What's the world's gone to? I'm going, no. I just called to let you know this. Everything's fine. Your baby's fine. Don't panic. Everything's okay. So yeah, it makes perfect sense that works also for our children. So taking a beat, taking a breath, and then explaining everything. I love the fact that we're staying honest and helping our children to understand how what they do affects other people, even if they can't see it. Because I think even for us as adults, that's often difficult. Right?
Yeah,
I'm quite sure
agreed.
Plenty of things that I've done that have upset people and I hadn't actually realized and hadn't meant to do so. So I think it's really good to be open. I love the one of the questions was, how do you manage to juggle 3 very different children? Right? So, what's going on and their challenges are different.
Don't you? Mm-hmm. I actually will say, for what it's worth, and I'm not going to jinx myself, we're in a calm space. Everything's working. Everyone's getting what they need. I will tell you, last spring, Hunter was so unhappy where he was. He wasn't getting what he needed. We had to pull him out literally right before winter break. We put him in Linda Mood Bell because we didn't know where else to take him. He was struggling so bad. His self-confidence was shot. We didn't know if there was a school. We knew there had to be, just didn't know what it was. We're not from California, And
Linda Mood Bell is like an individualized.
It's a learning center to help kids that have specialized in like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, which doesn't have dyscalculia, thank God, now that we know it exists. So we spent our winter break crying and wondering, where can this child land? He can't spend all his time at a one-on-one 4-hour day tutoring session just to stay in the grade. And it was just asking questions. We literally I was crying to his therapist one day, his educational therapist, like, what do we do? Help me. And she mentioned Frostig, which we'd never heard of. And we went on a tour. He was very against it, of course, because what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Went on the tour. While on the tour at Frostig, the guy said, if you're here, it's probably because Bridges told you they weren't a good fit, and this school was, or maybe this is not a good fit and Bridges will be a good fit, because we kind of, we know each other's students and population. Some have gone back and forth. On our tour for Frostig, we found out from me crying to a therapist, he was Googling Bridges before the tour was over. You'd emailed Bridges.
Yeah, to set up an appointment.
Wyatt started Bridges while the process for enrollment was happening for Frostig. We had, I would say, weeks where we'd wake up at 4 a.m. We didn't know what else to do. to write essays, to email people. We had a list that looked like we were moving, like a to-do list, because all of a sudden it hit us all at once. It wasn't the child with severe autism. It was the other two that we found out right then are in completely the wrong places and needed completely different things. And
it all happened at the same time. It was like the perfect storm.
It literally,
so it was,
there was a good, I would say a good 3 or 4 weeks there where our alarms were going off at 4 because we didn't know. I'm worthless at night. I'm so tired. We didn't know what else to do. We're just writing essays.
Yeah,
right.
I agree. So yeah, it
goes in waves.
As I say, it goes in waves and stuff. But again, it's just, fortunately, it's both of us where we can block and tackle a little bit, right? So there are certain times where we're working with, the different kids, or like Leah said, she has a strong understanding of what's going on with Hunter, right? So she connects, I think, with Hunter on that. I tend to be probably
anything English.
Yeah, more, yeah. And also understand, like, aligning with Wyatt, probably I'm able to maybe sometimes communicate better with him. Mm-hmm. We love all of our children equally, obviously, but knowing that we're able to support each other. And as I have told folks, and we say this all the time, I think this has also brought us closer as a couple, right? A lot of folks who face this,
they get divorced. We've heard terrible stories.
Yeah, fight or go like, I can't handle this, and one person's like, this is
as a marriage
much,
anymore. That's right? What we've heard.
Exactly. It becomes like a marriage or a working relationship of trying to take care of kids. We looked at it as an opportunity to really bring us closer. For me, frankly, to learn how to communicate better. That was never one of my strong points. And so it has allowed us to really get to know each other better, right? Even on the ADHD thing, like yes, I had heard that you were ADHD.
When I was pregnant with each kid, he likes to joke, there were different color Post-its because I couldn't take my medication of all different colors everywhere in our home to remind me not to forget something, right? Yep. And the kids now call it hide and heat in the morning because I will lose every cup of coffee and forget where I put it down. And it's in the pantry, it's in the laundry room. And they say, Dad, Mom's on her 3rd round of hide and heat because I hide my coffee. I forget why I'm like, why am I here? What's going on? But then we make a joke about it. Hunter's like, Mom, you're like me. I'm like, okay, sorry. I haven't had anything to eat. But it's helping with them. And I think with us, another big thing is this. When our daughter was diagnosed, we knew about Hunter, had no idea about Wyatt because he was just making straight A's and everyone thought he was perfect and quiet. Okay, he was young. When we got diagnosed with Scarlett, I'll be honest and say it. I was so depressed because it was my daughter. And, you have all these dreams of what you're going to get to do and her wedding and this Jewish her bat mitzvah and all these things, all these parties and getting our nails painted together and all this, I was really like, just like my whole life was like going to ABA therapy with her. And I was never going to see my friends again, I told him, because I was going to be in so much therapy for her. And I was severed ties. I was done. And I did go to a therapist and she was amazing. And I tell everyone this. And since I'm Jewish, when someone passes away, you sit Shiva and for so many days, you just mourn, you shut down your life, you mourn, and then you move on. And it happens fast and it seems like it's too soon. And she basically told me to do that. And she was like, I need you to write down, you are mourning what you thought you might have, the relationship with your child, with your children, with each of them. You're mourning that because it's not going to be. But they don't know about that. And you can't let them think they're missing out on something and that you're sad about that. Like you said, Scarlett doesn't know she's autism, and Wyatt and Hunter, it's not going to change them from having a wonderful life. We just can't say, oh, you can't do this little thing. What's the difference? She made me sit Shiva. She made me mourn. And it helped because I would sit and cry about, she can't go to sleepaway camp or, will Hunter be able to do certain sports? No. And that's okay. He's better at one-on-one things. He's right. Mm-hmm. He's better at drums. He's better at swimming and rock climbing. If he plays on a team, Hunter's going to get in trouble because he wants to take everyone's role because he can do it. Mm-hmm. And Wyatt, he's not competitive. He's going to just do his own thing and that's why he doesn't want to be the crowd. He wants to be behind the camera doing the PowerPoints for the crowd. And it's like for him, he was a performer. Like each of us had to realize who these kids are. And I mourned it. And now when the doctor told me one thing that was amazing, we can't travel with Scarlett. She doesn't fly on planes. She's autism. She won't wear headphones. It's difficult for her out of her routine. We felt bad that our boys couldn't travel and see the world. because that was gut wrenching for us.
Right.
We love to travel. So we do go on vacation without our daughter 1 week a year. And I was terrified for people to know, because I thought they would judge me, how selfish of me. But I can't not let the boys experience that. And I had to come to terms with, if anyone wants to judge me, it's okay. They're not in my life. They don't understand. If I take Scarlett on an airplane, she will be scared and terrified because she'll be strapped down. She won't understand why. She won't know where anything is in the house. So they go on vacation with us once a year and we show them a place of the world. Scarlett's happy. She's with people she knows. But we found a place we could drive to, and we take Scarlett to Lake Tahoe in the summer. We go there the first week when it's not so crowded and busy. And every year we told the boys, this is the vacation as a family with Scarlett. And we stay in the exact same place. And we go the first week when no one is there yet because schools are just getting out. But this was the therapist telling me. And she was like, you need to find the things you can do, forget what you can't. And that's so hard. When you get these diagnoses, all you want to look at is the negative stuff. Yeah. Because that's what they focus on. They focus, but you can't.
Yeah, because as parents, we're usually told what our children will not be able to do. That's what they tell you out the gate. Your kid is never going to be able to do any of these things. I love, though, that you went through the mourning, because I think for most parents, they're not encouraged to grieve, right? And that makes perfect sense. It is a loss of who we thought our kids were going to be. Now, of course, even without their learning challenges, they may never have been those kids anyway.
Of course.
Right.
Because we don't know. We don't know.
But it was my expectations and my dreams that I had really weighing down on me, to the point where I would, this little girl just went to the Disney boutique and did all this. I'm not going to do that. And I would break down. And I don't do that anymore, because I realize Scarlett doesn't know she's missing it. If you put her in there, she would be so scared. She wouldn't want them to comb her hair. She just wants her thing. And Scarlett is so happy. We have found her thing. She's a fish. She loves to swim. She has her thing. So we just found what it was. And with Wyatt and Hunter, we were having so many issues with our ADHD child, with activities, getting in trouble at school for sports, getting in trouble for different things, that we finally just did research and asked, what sports can he do? What do you recommend for music? Not what he can't. And guess what? We started with drums because they said it would help with the midline. He's amazing. He
loves it.
And with Wyatt, he needs something to help with patience that he's not so great at. He's doing golf.
Yeah. And he loves golf. And he's able to focus, and he doesn't have to worry about the team, doesn't have to worry about socializing with the other kids, right? He's able to just focus, and because it's, more strategy related to it, it's the thinking game, as they say. Like,
but he's proud he has a sport.
But he has a sport, so he can share with others and say, yeah, of course I'm athletic. I play golf, and he is, and which is amazing for him. And they're both very, very happy. It did take a while. Yeah, this was definitely, as we've heard,
name it. We've tried all the things they said that they said they would both be loving karate. Oh,
yeah, that did not work.
And lots of others, but we just keep trying. We just knew there had to be something. It's just not what all the friends do, but that's okay.
Right. And like we said, we made the mistakes of saying, okay, we can just put them in a typical school, right? And it'll work out, or we'll get them help there. But because we want to put them in that kind of school, we want to give them that type of experience, because that's the type of experience we had, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's the thing, is you have to step back and realize, like, it's not about us, right? It's about them. And so once we were able to really step back and look at it and learn and ask questions, and like you said, the finding folks that we could talk to. And then when we went on the tour, Frostig and Bridges, and
when we went on a tour for Bridges, why didn't want to leave?
Yeah. I know you said he literally got down on the ground.
When I went to he'd been there for the day, and I went to pick him up, and I called Jeremy because Wyatt was on his knees. He'd slipped off the sofa. His wallet fell out of his pocket. That's how fast he moved. He was doing this, and he was pleading with them not to make him go back to his Jewish day school. Pleading. He was like, please, I want a lab coat. I want to research. I want more time for class. I want this. And he was talking. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But When she say, we've had this before, it's okay. Did you like, I mean, he truly, and then in the car, he's like, Mom, how long have you known this place existed? And we were like, buddy, we found out a couple weeks ago on a tour for your brother. And to this day, we're so grateful that he mentioned it. Yeah, we would have found it one day, but good. He's the happiest child we've ever seen. I mean,
and they'll tell us about their school days.
Now
in the
they
past,
do.
it was, how was your day? It was fine, right? Or what did you do? I did stuff, right? I did math, I did science, but it was very kind of vague, right? Like they weren't excited about talking about exactly what they did, right? And sharing it. And so that's something that I know both with Hunter and then especially with Wyatt. Like, for instance, I will pick him up tonight at 6 o'clock because he's staying late for robotics because they were an apprentice. They were able to create an apprentice program this year for robotics where he's younger than the high school kids just because it was something that he loved. And I guarantee you, I will sit down with him and I'll say, hey, buddy, how was robotics? And he'll say, oh, it's great. I got to do this, this, and that. Even something like cleaning up after other kids.
Loves
for
it.
him, he's like, oh my God, I was able to get clean like for other kids. Just that experience. But he will also talk to me about his entire day and he will share with me everything that he did and what the experience was like and how excited he is in the projects he's working on. He's working on a project tonight. He's really excited about working on that. We've never had that in the past, right? Because I think he was just trying to get through the day. He just was trying to find a way to just go through the motions and then get home. And it really has been an incredible experience for Hunter and for Wyatt both.
Yeah.
To see them, we say they've quote unquote found their people, right? That's the expression. And it's true, right? They've found their people. They're able to be comfortable in their own skins and just really be themselves and get the support that they need.
Without being made to feel like something's wrong with them.
100%.
That's the secret, is that instead of them fitting into what this mold was that they're not letting change, and then us bringing things to kind of keep it together and, a Band-Aid here, a Band-Aid there, a Band-Aid there. So it's just, instead it's just meshed, it's into the schools that they're in, the environments they're in are actually understanding about it. I mean, Hunter is still, I pick him up and he's like, was I good today? And I'm like, oh dear God. He's so used to being told, you didn't raise your hand or something. And now he's.
I also worry that he won't be able to stay, right? Like he loves it so much that he's like, oh my God, just tell me I was okay. Cause I don't want to be able to, get taken out of the school. Like I love it so much. So we're working through that and he's gotten a lot better and he realizes, no, don't worry. You're not going to.
Because of what he's been through in the past, he got in trouble for anything and everything if he didn't sit quietly and say, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Like I said, it's our PTSD and I think theirs as well, right? To an extent. So, but
we're lucky. We're very fortunate. I know that we're very fortunate because we've done tutors, we've done educational therapists, we've done behavioral therapists, we've done egg timers to help with transitions. We still have issues with transitions.
Because not everything's perfect now, right? It's still a journey. So
I like my favorite thing, don't laugh, give them showers at night. And for someone that has ADHD and is tough with transitions, who told me this? Let them, I don't care, let them take a shower before they go to bed and put on the clothes they're going to wear to school the next day. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If he takes a shower, washes his hair, sometimes in the morning, it's just 1 or 2 days a week that we don't have to take 15 minutes to kind of like get himself centered for the day.
Yeah.
I love that.
That helps.
I love that. So because a lot of my kids are really sensitive to what they wear, and the whole transition thing in the morning is a complete and utter nightmare. I mean, it was one of the cool things that I loved about COVID was that I didn't have to get dressed in the morning. So some mornings I had my PJs on and I literally put a jacket on the top and started my morning meetings. And I thought that was the coolest thing on the planet.
Yeah. It's also picking your battles. I think that's why I said that.
Yep.
You realize there's going to be so many challenges. And some things like, hey, it's okay if the house is clean and the dishes aren't done. He will say to me a lot of the times when I'm like, we have to do the dishes. And he'll say, no, you don't. You need to go to bed. It's okay. realize that it's not going to be, or it's okay if they have a basket of laundry in their room that's perfectly clean for them to pick stuff from. It's okay. And I think that's a big part of it too. As long as the rest is taken care of.
I love that. So the two of you work together, which is key, right? But picking battles and asking questions. You mentioned asking questions a lot. And so I know that you've spoken to therapists and you've spoken to doctors and you spoke to other people going through or having children with similar challenges. But who else have you asked stuff of? I know you mentioned an IEP we were talking before we came on. Can you share what happened in the IEP meeting?
Oh, no, I would say that our first IEP meeting was for our daughter because she was so young and we didn't know what to do. And we were very honest that we didn't want to say anything wrong. We didn't want, we don't know what any of this means. And we were lucky. And then at the time, the case manager of Scarlet offered to be on at the meeting with us. And we felt like we had an advocate there who knew us, because at the time we didn't know anything about advocates or anything. And so she was there she knew what services there were that we didn't know to ask for. She knew those kind of things, right?
Right.
And before we would say yes or no, because we didn't know what we're talking about, she would actually explain it to us, which was really helpful. But a big thing is that I'm very honest. I don't keep it inside about our kids. I'm very honest, which is a good thing because you'll never connect with other people and you'll never find out things. I said, I've been to a birthday party. And all of a sudden I was standing next to a mom who started talking about her son who has autism and started talking to me about services and, how many hours do I get of respite services? And I didn't know what she was talking about. I had no idea. Come to find out that because Scarlett is nonverbal and has autism, I could have so many hours of someone coming to help relieve me on the weekend to either stay at home and do laundry or go to Costco, something I wouldn't have to have her with me because it takes twice as long, and different things. And when I mentioned it, I was told by my case manager, oh, well, you didn't ask for it. And I said, but I didn't know it existed. And there's nothing, and I Googled it. There's no chart that says the following services are available to your child. You don't get anything like that. And so, it's stuff like that. I think sometimes we're embarrassed, because our kids are different, but if you just are honest, and sometimes you never know where you're going to find out help. We ask questions all the time. And I've said that we're so far from experts that I think we're not embarrassed to ask the stupid questions and the silly questions like, by the way, what does that word mean? And as a result, I think we end up finding out about more opportunities and more things because we don't know.
Yeah.
So as parents, then you're recommending that we ask questions, we be open and not be as fearful of looking stupid. It's gotta
be, there is no class. There was nothing, no one can tell you about this. It's going to be your own journey, but there's so many services out there and there's so many organizations that we find out exist on right?
Yep. Agreed. I think and as we keep bringing up, it was a shock as we received this information, these diagnoses in the beginning, right? So let's be honest, there is that moment and that period of time where you just are probably frozen, right? And you just don't know.
Paralyzed.
Yet. And so you have to get past that, right? It's not, and as we talked about, it wasn't an overnight, right? So there wasn't like we heard about it, we're frozen, and we're like, okay, hey, we're going to come together and we're going to join and we're going to be a super couple and we're going to get all this information. And we got this.
Then you run out of steam.
Right? Totally. So there were times when we doubted, right? There were times when we had different ideas of what we were thinking should be the best path forward. And it was just one of those situations where you got to get through it and realize that, again, as we talked about, we're a team. We want what's best for our kids. And it's just, we got to look towards knowing that we can find what's best for them if we just try, right? And we just, as you said, ask the questions, realize this is our reality, right? It is what it is. Everybody has their own realities. This is ours. And so we got to embrace it and, again, do what's best for our kids, for us, and for our entire family.
But it only helps make it easier if you do that and get them the services they need. that is what makes it so much better.
Agreed.
And yeah, just this is how it is. And then you find ways to do things as a family, and you find ways to make it work.
Agreed. Yeah,
Love
it's been a journey.
Believe it. Oh my gosh, I'm looking up and we're running out of time. We have several questions in our Q&A. A lot of them are about bridges. So one of them is, what are the differences or strengths of Bridges and Frostig? So, because you've got a child in each.
I mean, Wyatt it's a 2E school. He's Wyatt's very intelligent. He has socially, he's more, I just think Frostig is a school that is really geared towards kids that have ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia. They have even smaller classes. The kids, it's right.
Yep, agreed.
I mean, the Frostig Center is actually, Marion Frostig has dealt with kids with dyslexia and ADHD for so long. They do some really intensive programs. I mean, not just handwriting without tears, Orton Gillingham, and all those different things. They do a lot of different things for them. So I think that they even more so, okay, they do meditation, they do nutrition, they get PE every day because these kids have to get this energy out. Mm-hmm. So I think, he's giving him many other options as a way to present his work. While we're at Bridges, Wyatt is finding ways to connect with our kids, all the different clubs. He's joined all these clubs because he didn't know how to talk to kids. And now he eats with the Dungeons and Dragons club once a week. And he's not eating his lunch because he's like, I was with my D&D friends. Well, that gave them something to talk about. In Bridges, we were worried, like, how's he going to be socially? And they said, we've got all these clubs. These kids need to find something to feel a connection to their own. Why doesn't just talk to a kid? He'd rather talk to an adult, And so that helped him. And also they have so many choices with classes. And I think it's more, they're looking at things different. What would you say?
And they do have like specializations. For instance, Wyatt was always one that would be on his phone and he was looking up things like the Napoleonic Wars when other kids were like looking up football scores, right? Or SpongeBob. And he actually is in a class now he was able to choose a track. Is it in humanities?
They don't do English and social studies. They do humanities in 7th grade, which is amazing. And he had a choice. And
he chose revolutions. Like, that was amazing. We went to school and they said he had the choice of these different things. He chose revolutions and studying in-depth revolutions. And there's so much within revolutions. It's really interesting.
And they're acting things out.
And he loves it. So it's one of those situations where, it was tailored to kids who think a little differently, right? Who have different interests that would be thinking about something like that versus what maybe is in a traditional school setting. That's what Bridges really like shot.
He used to do those deep dives on him by himself at home. He would just do the same old thing and then come home and he'd always be online. Now, I think he also feels like it's open to that environment and there are other kids that think that way. He's like waving his flag, prouder to be the kind of person he is. We joke every day. He's like coming out of his shell and becoming even more Wyatt, and he's just so excited for school and to research. And and he's found people that understand that enthusiasm for science.
So finding the right environments for our children has definitely been key, but asking the questions. I can't believe that we're literally out of time. Talking to you both has just been so enlightening. I cannot again thank you enough. Just before you go, is there like one final piece of advice that you would give either to a new family or to a family that have multiple children and are traveling that road for how to help keep these families happy and provide our students with the best future for themselves rather than a preconceived notion one?
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say this, and he's really good at this, and I have to force myself to do it, is that at the end of the day, you do have to tell yourself that, like, you know what, I did the best I could. Like, I literally did the best I could today. And that's just it. The best I knew of, the best to my, abilities, we did the best we could. And then like if he comes home late and I can't find him, he's good at this. Like he will literally be like, okay, I promised Wyatt that I'd be with him for 30 minutes and we're going to watch Loki. And it's just the end of the day. And that's the best way to end it. Or he's like, Hunter just wants me to watch him play video games. God help. And he does that. Or he'll fall asleep with Scarlett and she'll be trying to kick him out. But he's like, nope, I'm not leaving. We just force ourselves just to, even just if you're tired and exhausted and you haven't done the dishes, just go lay with them. They just being, that's what makes them feel so good. And he's better at doing that than I am, but I'm getting there.
And I think echoing what Leah said about doing the best you can, right? We're all in this. Just do, if you at the end of the day feel like you did the best job you could, that's all that matters, right? And in raising kids and life and careers, right? You just want to do that. Know that at the end of the day, you did the best job that you possibly could. And I think that the kids notice that. They know that we're there. They know that we support them and love them no matter who they are. And we'll always be there for them.
That is beautiful. I'm just like so delighted and so grateful again to have been able to share quality time with you both today. The chat's been blowing up. There's some confusion about schools, and somebody says that they might need to move. And somebody else asked us if Bridges would build one in a second school in New York. We do have a second school in Seattle. We do also have an online school. So if you want to know more about that, please feel free to email me. I can't thank you enough. It's just been so enlightening and so wonderful. And I know you say you're not experts, but you really are truly amazing and really are experts on sharing your story, and we really are so grateful that you took the time to do that with us today. I've learned a lot. I know our viewers have learned a lot. I know the people that are going to watch this later on will be really, really grateful that they've been able to tune in and hear your story. And I'm looking forward to the other adventures that we have with your babies, because your kids are amazing and you are wonderful people. So just before I go, next month, I'll have another parent visiting us. Her name's Loretta Lee. She is also a consultant, and she traveled to the UK, which is now where she lives. And so she's going to be sharing with us how she got services in the UK for her daughter. So I definitely recommend that you all join me next month. We'll be getting together December 13th, because that's the beginning of the month. I'd like to thank John, who works away in the background. We don't see his face, but trust me, without his amazing skills, we just would never be on air, because I don't know what I'm doing. So if you have found benefit and learned anything that you'd like to share with us, please feel free to email me, crucialconversations@2ecenter.org. If you have thoughts about guests that you think that we should be talking to, please feel free to also email me that. And I look forward to seeing everybody again next month. So make sure that you join me. Thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.